Steep slopes, thick brush, and scattered grass patches create the perfect feeding ground for wild boars, packed with plants, insects, and cover. They slip through the terrain like ghosts, leaving almost no trace. For a hunter, every step demands absolute caution. The hillside tests not only strength, but sharp instincts. Only those truly alert can read the faint signs of creatures that move as quietly as shadows. Climbing the hillside, it feels like the world behind me disappears. Everything drops into an eerie silence. Just me, the ground, and the faintest markings left behind. Every sound, every footprint becomes a crucial clue. With the hunting dogs leading the way, finding the boars is no longer the impossible task it used to be. Smooth teamwork and careful preparation create the perfect opportunity. Every shot lands where it should. Everything plays out clean and controlled. In this wide-open landscape, the drone rises quickly, casting shadows over the slope. I stay tucked inside the brush, waiting for the right moment. The boar still has no idea danger is closing in, until the moment arrives. No matter how smart or quick a wild boar may be, it can't predict a well-laid ambush. And in the end, there's only one outcome for any wild animal trying to claim this land. The strategy continues to prove its worth, not only with technology, but with the pack of hunting dogs driving the boar straight into our field of fire. The guns wait, ready. The moment is here. Even its tough armor-like hide, something that often looks impenetrable, can't withstand the storm of bullets raining down. It collapses in moments. After that victory, the forest suddenly grows still. During times like this, every detail matters. Every track, every judgment must be exact. One mistake, and the boars will have another chance to wreak havoc. But before long, luck turns our way. And in that instant, we understand. Success comes not only from strength, but from silence, patience, and calm in the defining moments. There's no pause, no chance to relax. Every step and every glance scans the terrain. Then suddenly, the familiar rustle, the sharp scent hitting my nose. When the boar falls, it becomes more than just a trophy. It's proof of skill, intuition, and the ability to read the land with precision. This is where every skill and every ounce of focus is pushed to the limit. The unstable slopes, shifting angles, and uneven ground turn balance itself into a battle. Every shot must be calculated, not just distance, but absolute accuracy. The situation can change in a split second, and a tiny mistake can send the boar fleeing into the brush. This hunt isn't only about victory, it's a journey that showcases skill, grit, and harmony with the wild.
So come on, Kai.
They came again, like a black storm. The wild boars tore through my grandmother's cornfields last night. By sunrise, her crops were destroyed, flattened, ruined. Everything she'd worked for, gone in one night. Her anger and helplessness lit a fire in me. I knew I had to head back to the countryside and act fast. Would this hunt be the turning point? Let's find out. Local shepherds helped us pinpoint the highest concentration of wild boars in the area. Our plan? A classic push and pinch tactic. I teamed up with Blake and 2 others to ambush positions along the ridge. The rest of the crew circled below and above, driving the boars into our trap using hunting dogs. Camo gear, tactical boots, radios, dogs, and rifles. Everything was ready. We set out. 7 o'clock a.m. The cold cuts to the bone, but this position? Perfect. It took nearly 2 hours of tough climbing to get here, a vantage point that oversees the entire hillside. Wild boars, with their razor-sharp survival instincts, almost always bolt uphill when spooked. We were here to shut that door. Every sense was on high alert. I strained to catch the faintest rustle. Then came the barks. The dogs were on them. Through the scope, a shadow moved. A massive male, probably close to 200 kilograms, stealthily creeping up the slope, looking for cover. I slowly raised my rifle. As soon as it stepped into the sweet spot, boom! One clean shot. The beast crumpled and rolled down like a lifeless sack. The perfect opening shot to kick off today's hunt. The push was working. Voices crackled through the radio. A small group had been herded into the valley. One had broken off. It stood frozen, confused, desperate for a way out. In moments like this, there's no room for hesitation. I locked in. One shot, straight to the torso. The boar tumbled down the slope. Escape attempt terminated. Sensing danger, the rest of the herd made for the neighboring ridge, thick with thorny underbrush and hard terrain. We moved fast. The elite dogs were unleashed, darting into the dense bush like arrows. Soon, one boar was flushed out, right below us. I moved in, lined up the shot with care. Couldn't risk hitting the dogs. Click, boom, clean, precise. Another threat neutralized. But the barrel was still warm when another one charged. Panic in its eyes, charging blindly uphill toward us. I waited, then fired. The bullet struck true, but it wasn't enough to drop him. The beast stumbled, then veered wildly across the rocky slope, heading straight for where Blake lay hidden. I see it, Blake's voice snapped through the radio. Seconds later, another crack of a rifle. Direct hit. The creature went down hard. I exhaled. Having solid teammates like Blake makes the whole mission smoother, safer. After a short break, the hunt resumed. From our vantage point, we could still see a few boars resting on the opposite ridge. We spotted an opportunity and moved in silently. I aimed right behind the ear, a wild boar's most vulnerable spot. One gentle squeeze of the trigger, the beast dropped instantly, gone before it even knew what hit it. Shots echoed across the hills. Our team was firing from all sides. More and more targets fell. I found one, wounded, hiding under a bed of dry leaves, barely breathing. I moved in cautiously, one final shot to ensure the threat was over. A long, hard day of hunting, now complete. The wheels of our Jeep Gladiator kicked up dust as we drove back. From intense adrenaline to quiet relief, every second of today's hunt told a story worth remembering. In the hills where my uncle raises goats, the night is no longer peaceful. Wild boars have grown bold, sneaking down into the pens under the cover of darkness. They don't just tear through barbed wire fences, they maul the newborn kids. Patience had run out. It was time to act. Would we succeed in restoring order? Let's find out. We split into several small teams, each covering a known warpath. Boots gripped the damp soil. Radios crackled with final check-ins. Rifles were loaded. And from the back of our pickup truck, our pack of elite hounds was already howling, raring to go. My position was a dense bush right at a bend on the hillside trail. Fresh tracks and rootings told us it was a favored path. Below in the valley, the hounds had begun their push. Their barks rang out, fast and furious, driving the prey uphill, straight toward me. Then it happened. A shadowy shape emerged, scrambling through the bend. No hesitation. I pulled the trigger. As I approached, rifle still raised, I delivered a second finishing shot. Clean, precise, decisive. Out here, one bullet is one decision. You don't get a second chance. I was moving down the slope to regroup when I caught the faintest ruffle just above me. In a split second, instinct kicked in. I spun, rifle up, already aiming. The shot rang out almost simultaneously with the boar's appearance. The beast dropped where it stood. No movement, no second try. By noon, the heat was relentless. We had moved to a wide forest trail, the main corridor connecting two dense groves. Moments later, rustling, then chaos. A large boar burst from the brush. I locked on, calculated its path, and fired. Boom! Down it went, fast and clean. Gunfire erupted across the hills. Other teams were making hits too. The hunt was turning in our favor. The dogs led me into heavier brush. Tension was high. Every shadow, every twitch of a leaf pulled at my focus. Suddenly, movement! A massive boar charged the trail, breaking cover in desperation. But the only thing waiting for it was my smoking barrel. Following the trail of the hounds again, I encountered a few boars flushed into a small clearing. I fired, but their explosive speed saved them. They vanished into the opposite woods. We didn't back down. The hounds surged in, howling. Then, silence. They cornered it. I sprinted toward the location. I raised my rifle, picked a safe angle, and pulled the trigger. That echoing crack was the end of the intruder. Late afternoon, the sun dipped behind the hills. We pushed deeper for one last sweep. Then, just a whisper of a sound. A lone boar had broken off from the herd, hidden itself well, hyper alert. The moment it sensed danger, it bolted. But fate had other plans. It ran straight into my line of fire. One clean pull, and it was over. Elsewhere, our teams had taken down more stragglers. The hunt was complete. Just after dawn, a frantic scream rang out from a house near the forest edge, shattering the morning calm. A massive wild boar had stormed straight into the yard, crashing through the fence and flipping over the feed barrels. Dirt and debris flew everywhere. The beast was so fierce that no one dared get close. We arrived quickly, scanning for tracks and piecing together the trail. The goal was clear: take down this boar, or the whole herd, before it returned to cause more damage. The hunt was on, and this time there was no room for mistakes. As we moved toward the tree line behind the village, a rumble broke out ahead. A full herd of wild boars burst from the undergrowth, kicking up a storm of dust. No time to hesitate. I signaled my teammates to hold their ground, took a steady aim, and fired the first shot. One boar stumbled and dropped. A few more went down under my teammates' gunfire, while the rest scattered deep into the woods. An opening like that, completely unexpected. This hunt was shaping up to be far more intense than we imagined. After the main herd split, we decided to break into smaller units and follow the fresh tracks pressed deep into the soil. Not far away, a lone boar had strayed from the group, moving cautiously along a narrow trail. My partner and I crept in quietly, taking the downwind side to avoid detection. The moment the boar stepped out from behind the brush, I lined up the sights and squeezed the trigger. A clean, precise shot. Smooth, efficient, flawless. While we were sweeping another patch of ground, a faint rustle echoed from the slope to our right. There, a massive dark shape hiding behind a stand of dead trees, thinking it was safe. Too bad for him, I'd already spotted it. When the boar made its move, I fired. The first bullet struck its side. It staggered, but kept running. Not this time. The second shot hit home, and the beast went down hard. No running from that one. As the animal fell, the team quickly scanned the perimeter to make sure no tracks were left unchecked. We moved along the slope, where the soil was still soft with fresh prints. Then, out of nowhere, another boar dashed across my teammate's sights. Instead of rushing the shot, he pivoted left, adjusted for a clean angle. Boom! One shot, right on target. Sometimes, being off by a heartbeat means letting the trophy slip away. The sun dipped low, its golden light filtering through the leaves, carrying with it that familiar scent. A wild boar still lingered nearby. We switched tactics, created soft noise from the opposite side to lure them in. It worked. A big boar turned its head toward the sound, moving right into our zone. I steadied my aim and took the shot as it hesitated. A little bit of cunning, at just the right time, can yield incredible results. The team was running on fumes by now. The captain signaled for one final sweep before calling it a day. That's when a faint rustling froze us in place, the last boar trying to slip away unnoticed. The captain moved fast, positioning himself perfectly, steadying his breath, gauging the distance, and fired as the animal shifted direction. The hunt ended cleanly. One final perfect shot. The vast sugarcane field of Uncle 2 was devastated overnight, looking as though a storm had just passed through. The culprits were none other than a pack of fierce wild boars, which ruthlessly destroyed the harvest of an entire year's hard work. In response to the urgent plea from the locals, we decided to take action. Would peace return to the village? Let's follow along. After discussing tactics thoroughly, we quickly prepared ourselves. Each of us donned camouflage outfits, slipped into stealthy boots, and checked our radios and firearms. Most importantly, the thermal scope integrated with a distance meter was ready for action. Outside, the pickup truck roared to life, waiting for the signal to move out. The night swallowed everything around us. We made our way to the pasture where the wild boars often came to forage after wreaking havoc on the farmlands. I chose a high dirt mound, a strategic position that gave me a clear view of the entire open area, allowing easy control over the boars' movements. Through the thermal scope, the world turned black and white, and there they were, emerging from the shadows. A pack of wild boars quietly trudged onto the field, completely unaware that they had walked right into our sights. I didn't rush. Our golden rule was to take down the lead boar first, to cause chaos, break their formation, and shatter their resolve. I smoothly aligned the rifle's crosshairs on the leader of the pack. My breath held steady, my fingers slowly tightening on the trigger. Boom! The target collapsed instantly. The rest of the pack scattered in panic. I radioed to John, notifying him of their escape direction so we could intercept. From John's position, the crack of gunfire echoed, dry and sharp. Each shot signaled another enemy falling to the ground. The radio buzzed with a new report. Another group of boars had appeared near the edge of the forest. We immediately moved to intercept, moving like shadows. Through my scope, I locked onto a fat boar and squeezed the trigger. The pack panicked, scattering in all directions. I quickly tracked them, firing rapidly as I took out a few more. The sharp, thunderous reports from my rifle and my team's guns signaled the fall of more invaders, one after another. The hunt wasn't over yet. A few minutes later, another group of wild boars entered my line of sight. I swiftly picked a target and fired. The others scattered in terror, but I quickly followed their movements, sending a burst of fire and taking more of them down. From supporting positions, the precise rhythmic gunfire from my teammates confirmed that more of the destructive boars had been eliminated. The night was deepening, as dark as ink and freezing cold, but our focus remained unbroken. Through the thermal scope, I spotted more moving figures. I locked on quickly, calculated the shots, and fired. The boar collapsed immediately. The ones that tried to escape didn't get far. They were swiftly neutralized by my teammates' accurate fire. Suddenly, I spotted a massive boar breaking away from the pack, moving alone near the forest's edge. This was a golden opportunity. I used the integrated rangefinder, and the distance flashed clearly. I adjusted my aim and waited patiently for it to stop. There it was. The bullet left the chamber, and the boar dropped, immobilized by a single clean shot. At the same time, the sound of gunfire from my teammates rang out, thinning the enemy ranks even further. Finally, only one large boar remained, probably one of the remaining leaders. It was frantically searching for an escape route. I wasn't gonna give it that chance. I immediately locked onto it, waiting for the perfect moment, then squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out, ending its life with precision. All around me, my teammates' shots rang out without pause. Each bullet that left the chamber snuffed out one more of the enemy's lives.